Good morning to everyone. It's rather well, actually, it's quite a nice day today here in the Philippines. But and I hope that you're having pleasant weather wherever you are in the world, wherever you may be watching from. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. My name is Julius Barcelona. I'm the president of the Agribusiness and Countryside Development Foundation, and we're very, very happy to have you here with us. Everyone who makes the foundation possible, to all of the members and donors of the Agribusiness and Countryside Development Foundation. Thank you very much for your continued generosity and support of our activities. Without you, we wouldn't be able to bring you our sessions every 2 weeks. And truly, without your support, we would not be able to bring you our sessions every 2 weeks. If the Agribusiness and Countryside Development Foundation is in partnership with the Management Association of the Philippines. If today's session and our previous sessions bring you any value, do consider joining us as a member. Our links are in the description. Send us an email. We'd be very happy to have you on board. This morning, our session really is quite a what you call this, quite a one with a lot of substance, since we will be talking about developments in Mindanao. For those of you who perhaps may not know, the Philippines is an archipelagic country with over 7,000 islands. And our second largest island in the country is Mindanao, south of the country. And our speaker this morning is Ms. Lourdelie Salingumba Enjambre, Master in Public Service Management, with more than 25 years of experience in business and community development, serving as the former program manager and executive director of the country's first Hall of Fame for the most outstanding Chamber of Commerce of Cagayan de Oro, and presently the area head of the Mindanao Development Authority for Northern Mindanao. Northern Mindanao is one of the most important food production areas here in the Philippines, and its development as this food basket is truly one of the important tasks that we have to do for this country's development. She works with indigenous cultural communities, organizing them and trying to understand their cultural sensitivities and trying to marry these said cultural sensitivities with business development, economic, and environmental development and promotion. She works together with them for environment and urban planning, trying to make sure that such developments are not done with harm to the environment and to the stewardship that they place such importance on in their ancestral lands. She graduated with a Bachelor of Laws in Xavier University in Ateneo de Cagayan, and also has taken short executive courses for green economy and environmental protection in Beijing, China, trade promotion and training in Rotterdam in the Netherlands, and entrepreneurial marketing and management in the Asian Institute of Management. So without further ado, may I please invite Ms. Lourdes to please come online. Ms. Lourdes, good morning. It's really an excellent opportunity to have you. If I may, just before you begin, our audience is international. So when we do upload this online, we do have an international audience. Unfortunately, I will ask you to try and use English as much as possible for your presentation, taking into account this information. And then if I may also invite you first to give a short introduction of yourself, further introduction of how you got to where you are today with the Mindanao Development Authority. And if you could also maybe just give your contact details online so that people who might be watching this know how to get in touch with you if they are interested in doing so. Ms. Lourdes, please, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much, President Julius, for the kind introduction. You said a lot already, and I don't think if I can add more to what you've been telling them about me. But really, very shortly, I retired from the private sector, no, as executive director of the country's Hall of Fame most outstanding chamber, the Cagayan de Oro Chamber of Commerce. I served Oro Chamber for almost 20 years. And after the 20-year service to the private sector, I thought that it's good for me to move on and also serve the public sector, no, in this lifetime. And so I rejoined Minda before. This is actually my return of the comeback in Minda because I was already part of the Mindanao Development Authority, formerly the Office of the President in Mindanao, way back in 1995. No? So I was the presidential staff officer then that time. And so as I was telling you earlier, I'm very familiar of Secretary Ernie Ordonez because we've met several times during the presidential rounds of both President Arroyo and President Ramos also then. So I'm returning to government service, and now I've been with the government sector serving our communities for more than 10 years or running 15 years in the government sector. And I hope to retire uh, after my government service. So again, I would like to really thank the ABCD Foundation for inviting us in Minda to also present our priority programs and projects, which are aimed to really promote the inclusive socio-economic development of Mindanao. And at this point, I'd like to know how many of you here are really, except of course, except for yourself, how many of you here are familiar of Minda, of our office? So can I see hands, especially for those joining online? If you can just click the raise hand button so I can quickly check.
Yeah, yeah. Have you heard of Minda before?
Yeah. Have you heard
People
of
here,
us, of
we've got
Minda?
two people so far.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. So the
You've got some
numbers
work to
are,
do.
yeah, not
Oh, three,
so,
three. Okay, we've
yeah,
got three. We've got three, Miss Lawrence.
not so many, but the numbers are
Four now.
promising. So the numbers are promising. So all the more I'm motivated to really share the things that we're doing for Mindanao. So I think there's really a reason for me to be here with you today. And I really would like to start by sharing with you the quick presentation material that we prepared for your group. Thank you very much. Uh, okay. So can we go to the next slide? So Minda is actually a very young but dynamic government office. No? We were established in February 17, 2010. Actually, we celebrated our 15th year anniversary last February 17. And it's established by virtue of Republic Act 9996. So the bulk of what we do in Minda is really about coordinating, facilitating, harmonizing, and integrating Mindanao-wide, interregional and Mindanao-wide impact programs and projects. No? And as part of our function, we are also tasked to provide strategic direction for Mindanao space and development. So this under part of our work to provide strategic leadership is also our task to prepare or formulate the integrated development framework plan for Mindanao. And we've actualized this through the development of the Mindanao 2020. This is actually the Peace and Development Plan, basically our main Bible for developing Mindanao. So this is a 20 20-year development guide for Mindanao. And from this Mindanao 2020, we are also highlighting the imperatives, no, the development in imperatives for Mindanao. Now in the form of the captured in the Mindanao agenda 2023 to 2028. So if we go to the next slide, there you would see the 10 priority agenda for Mindanao. So as what you can see there, from all the plans that we've developed, coming from starting from our consultations, no, with local partners on the ground, and plus the socio-economic impact study that we're doing with our strategic partners. Then we develop the Mindanao 2020, which is our roadmap for Mindanao's development. And from this Mindanao 2020, we have the development imperatives. Now we are trying to stress these development imperatives as the way to go if we would really want to promote the sustainable and inclusive socio-economic development of the island region. And if we go to the next slide, I'm okay. So if, as you can see there, I would just like, okay. So we have 10 development agenda imperatives from Mindanao. And the one that's really on top is our agenda for promoting the people's well-being, the welfare of all the Mindanaoans. No? And here we have very specific programs for this that's really geared to improve the overall well-being of the Mindanaoans. So first we have the Mindanao Peace and Development Agenda, and also our very recent program, which is the Strengthening the Indigenous Peoples in Mindanao program, which also I'm serving as the Mindanao program coordinator. The next agenda is really about the interconnectivity, no? Really trying to strike a balance between these three crucial components that would propel us to sustainable growth here in Mindanao. So the water, energy, food nexus, and uh, we need water, of course, even especially in the production sector, not to mention the water requirement of our agriculture sector and our households. But for the manufacturing business, for the manufacturing industry, we need water to be able to produce our final byproducts. And so with water, you also need to power it up your facilities with the needed power. So for energy in Minda, we're actually campaigning for a 50% renewable energy mix. So we believe our management believes that this is really the sustainable way going up in Mindanao. And of course, our campaign, part of this is to really promote food sustainability and if not supremacy, considering that Mindanao grows majority of the agricultural crops of the country. And so if we would want to really be sustainably be developed and sustainably improved our global competitiveness, then we really have to really be good in utilizing our water, energy, and our agricultural resources. So we need to strike a balance and we need to preserve these resources as well to benefit our future generations. The third agenda is really to also promote trade and industry. So that's why we are working with chambers of commerce and other business groups and even trade associations and some of our co-ops, no, some of the big cooperatives here in Mindanao to promote trade and industry because especially our SMEs because our SMEs are really the backbone of our economy. Agenda 4 is really about promoting international partnerships. MINDA being the Philippine Coordinating Office for the BIMP IAGA. This is actually what's unique in us in MINDA because our chairperson, our secretary, actually serves as the Philippine signing minister for the BIMP IAGA. It's not the president, but the MINDA chairperson who acts as the Philippine signing minister for the BIMP IAGA growth cluster. And this promotion of international relationships, it's not only limited to the BIMP IAGA. So it expands even to other ASEAN, neighboring ASEAN countries, to the US and to Europe and all over the world. Agenda 5 is the need to promote our transport logistics infrastructure. And this is also connected with Agenda 6, which is really about promoting and enhancing our digitalization capability. And this is, we're looking at this as our way to also promote, effectively promote innovation. No? And 7, which is also now a concern in Mindanao, considering that we are becoming a hotspot for uh, super typhoons and typhoons. Before we used to enjoy uh, we used to enjoy a free typhoon landscape here in Mindanao. But recently, since 2011, so Mindanao is already becoming hotter and hotter with respect to typhoons and super typhoons. So every year, they are really visiting us here in Mindanao. And so there's a need for us to really improve the ecological, the environmental integrity of Mindanao. And one of the approaches that we are, the strategies that we are adhering to and promoting is really the payment for ecosystem services. And we have one particular program uh, for this, which is the Greening Mindanao program, which is also connected with our Mindanao or Mindanao Nurturing Our Water program that's also supporting Agenda 2. Agenda 8 is also enhancing the preparedness and resilience of the island region. And in here, we hope to really be able to establish the Mindanao Disaster and Resiliency Center, which is a quick assistance to all the areas in Mindanao once they're hit by a typhoon or a super typhoon. So we hope to be able to realize this year under the leadership of our chairperson, Secretary Leo Tereso Magno. And Agenda 9 is on peace, governance, and institutions. Here we are strengthening our institutional mechanisms and as ready as a ready support platform for all of these development imperatives, no, to fly and really be actualized. And 10 would is actually talking about the need to establish enabling conditions. And here particularly where we are looking at policies conducive for growth. And we are under this development agenda, we are closely working with our Mindanao Affairs Committee because Minda is also secretariat to the Mindanao Affairs Committee, wherein all our Mindanaoan congressmen are. So with respect to our policy advocacy campaign for Mindanao, Minda is working closely with the MAC. So can we go to the next slide? So here is the face of the man behind our uh, efforts to develop Mindanao. No? Secretary Hileo Tereso Magno, our chairperson, is really at the helm of doing the coordination, the harmonization, and integration works for Mindanao. And next slide. So just so that you will appreciate Mindanao, our island region. So very quickly, unlike what was reported about Mindanao being at the sub-Saharan level, uh, Mindanao actually produces almost 50% of the agricultural crop requirements of the country. It has 26.3 million population, which we think would already reach 30 million, no, as of this year, given an average annual population growth of 2%. So we will just see what will be the turnout of the population census. But as of 2020, we are registering a population size of 26.3 million Mindanaoans. The 10.2 million hectares of land that Mindanao has, actually one third of that is devoted to agriculture. So that's why we're saying Mindanao is actually the country's food basket. No? And it is also contributing to more than 30% of the national food trade. Why? Because majority of what's being required and produced are coming from Mindanao. If you can see the next slide, you will really note that next slide, please. You will really note that Mindanao actually produces 91% of our cacao requirement here in the Philippines. And 99.9% of the rubber that's being produced by the country come from Mindanao. Of course, durian, where we are very famous of, also majority 90% of those are really from Mindanao. Our Mindanao also produces 89% of the country's pineapple total production of pineapple, and 80% of the bananas, and the mangoes. We produce 50% of that. So if we go to the next slide, so you will see the difference, no? Before and now. So it's good to note that with respect to improving the business climate, we we used to have just below 10 billion worth of BOI investments, no? But starting 2010, uh, things started to pick up and registering 12 billion worth of investments, and that improved some more to 68.8 billion in 2022. And with the recent developments now, we can we can expect an upward trend for this sector. So poverty incidence very positively from 41.3% in 2012. We've registered 27.7% in 2022, though yeah, last year this actually increased to 34%, and this is due to some of the decline in some sectors. But what's also good to note that our value for exports are increasing, and hopefully this will not be affected with the latest pronouncement of President Trump, no, especially the tariff that is imposing for our goods coming from the Philippines to the US. So we can just uh, stay positive and hope that our national government will also be able to introduce measures to counter the huge impact of such pronouncement. So if we go to the next slide, can we? Okay, so this is just all about agricultural production. And I'm just citing here Region 10 because I'm partial to Region 10. And so yeah, it's good to note that we are on a year-on-year basis, we are improving, no? And production our production for crops, livestock, and fisheries are right on track. So can we move to the next slide? So this is just to show you our top 10 exports in Mindanao. No? So as you can see, number one is really about coconut. No? And if you will notice, about 60% of what's being exported, no? 60% of our top 10 exports from Mindanao are really agricultural crops, no? Coconut, banana, which is actually which comprises 17% of the total export. Banana, which is ranking number 2, and then we have our fruits, nuts, and other edible plants, no, 7%. That's ranking 5. And then we have our uh, dates, pineapples, avocados, guavas, mangoes, and mangosteens, no, at 6%. So if we will sum up all of this would actually give us about 60%, no, 60%. And this is really very crucial. And so that's why we are really investing so much in our agriculture sector, and especially for value adding. So just a quick slide, just so you will appreciate our contribution, not just to the Philippines, but to the whole world. No? That uh, Mindanao is top 3 banana exporter, and also topping it, ranking number 3 for seaweeds production and for seaweeds export. We are top 4 with respect to exporting pineapples to the world, and top 7 for rubber, and top 8 as tuna exporter to the world. So can we move to the next slide? And for 2025, this is actually good news, no? This is part of our advocacy in Minda to really increase the budget allocation for Mindanao. When we started, Mindanao barely has 3%, no, share of the national budget, and now we've reached 14%. But our advocacy for increasing our budget allocation for Mindanao does not stop there. We are still pushing and working closely with our Mindanao Affairs Committee, with our congressmen, and women, so that we will really be able to push for a bigger share of not less than 21% for Mindanao. And so for this year, Mindanao is actually expected to receive an allocation of 940 billion pesos, and it's being distributed across the 6 regions. So as you can see, Region 10, which is actually so far the highest. So we have a lot of lobbyists here in the region, which is actually uh, expected to receive 20% of the 940 budget allocation for Mindanao, or specifically 184 billion peso budget. Caraga of 14% or 130 billion. And we have the BARM of 178 billion or 19% share of the allocation for this year. In Region 9 of 143 billion or 15%, another 15% for Region 12 or the stock surgeon region, and Region 11, 17% or 165 billion. And so we hope that uh, things will not stop here. In every year, the budget for Mindanao will uh, really be increased, no, annually, so that the budget will be tantamount to the development requirements also of the area. Next slide. Okay, so these are now our priority programs and projects in Minda. So as what was requested by President Julius, uh, if it's possible for us to share, no, this priority major programs and projects of the office, which I immediately said yes, yes, of course. We would like to really inform everyone, and we hope that in the process we will get more support, no, and more adapters in some of these areas of possible collaboration. So first off is our Mindanao Nurturing Our Waters program. So as I said earlier, water is very crucial for the full development of Mindanao. Water is life. So, and then this is actually taking into account the study that was conducted by USAID, which actually revealed that most of the areas and cities of Mindanao will already be water compromised starting in 2023. So this we are really promoting and encouraging, working closely with the provincial local government units in the city and municipal local government units, ensuring that these LGUs or the local government units will really be able to provide the water requirements of their constituents. So this is one of our major programs in Minda, the Mindanao Nurturing Our Waters, which is also strongly connected with our greening program. No, because in the greening program, as I said, we are encouraging communities to not just to plant, but to grow trees as well. No? And so that we can maintain a balanced ecosystem. Next program is the MINPAD, or the Mindanao Peace and Development Program. So here, this is actually supported by our ODA partner, the European Union, and GIZ, no, who is our political partner in the country, especially in the implementation of the SPADE project, or the strengthening the regional and local initiatives for peace in development. So under MINPAD, we are closely working with partner cooperatives like NATCO, the agri co-op, no, agri co-op, so that they can extend assistance to member farmers, fisher folks, and even especially women farmers. So next, here we have the STIP Mindanao program, or the Strengthening the Indigenous program. This is our newest addition in Minda, which started last year. This is actually a complementary program with that of the Department of Agriculture's Mindanao MIADP, or the Mindanao Inclusive Agriculture Development Project, which is also a 5-year uh, time program. So for the STIP, this is actually geared, the general objective, the general goal here is to really empower our IP communities. And another program we have is the Mindanao Investment Promotion and Facilitation Program, which we hope to be able to launch this Friday with the presence of no less than our president, PBBM, in Davao. So in the investment promotion and facilitation, Minda works, no, because as you know, Minda is actually one of the country's investment promotion agencies. And under the Mindanao Investment Promotion and Facilitation Program, there are actually investment desks uh, that are ready to, to serve the business, ready to link potential local entrepreneurs and businesses with that of international partners, especially from the BIMP, IAGA. We have also our financing program, which is the Alalay program. And this is actually in close partnership with the Development Bank of the Philippines. So under this cooperation, Minda actually has a fast track window for loan availment. And here we are helping SMEs and partner co-ops and farmer organizations to avail of low interest and quick loan from the Development Bank of the Philippines. Next slide. Okay, here is another set of priority programs and projects. So the Mindanao Power Program, so this is really very important because here, especially as we promote more investments and more industries to relocate in Mindanao, then we really have to have the needed power resources with us. And for the Mindanao Power Program, we are really campaigning for a 50% renewable energy in the power generation mix in Mindanao. And this will be our contribution to the country's 30% RE mix aspiration. Next is the Mindanao Development Corridors. No? The Mindanao Development Corridors is actually the geospatial plan for Mindanao. And here we are strategizing the special areas for development, like the Northern Mindanao corridors, the uh, BARM corridor, the biodiversity and the logistics corridor, and so on and so forth. And lastly, we have the Mindanao Disaster Resiliency Center which I already shared earlier. So can we go to the next slide? Okay, so more about MinPad. So for MinPad, we are actually using the Mindanao Inclusive Agribusiness Framework. And for this framework, we are focusing on five significant agricultural crops, no? Like cacao, coconut, coffee, and very recently, starting in 2021, bamboo, and now sweet potato because of the global demand for all of these products. So for cacao, Minda is actually promoting the growing of cacao across Mindanao, especially coconut and coffee. Bukidnon, by the way, is our coffee capital of Region 10. And we've assisted a lot of communities, especially the tribes, in establishing their coffee nursery and establishing their coffee brands, even working closely with some partners also here. And for bamboo development, last when was that? 2021. No? In 2021, we organized the Mindanao Bamboo Council. We organized the Mindanao Bamboo Council to be spearheading the campaign to grow more bamboos and to develop more bamboo farms across Mindanao. And for sweet potato, we are starting this year because of the big demand also. We all know for a fact that in 2023, this sector, sweet potato, demand for sweet potato actually recorded a high time of 48.7 billion, and it's expected to double in 2030 to 84 billion US dollars, no? So more or less they have the same demand as that of bamboo because bamboo the global market is expected to reach 99 billion US dollars in 2026. So that's why we are promoting this major agricultural crops uh, just so our farmers will really be able to really take advantage of all the opportunities, especially in value adding. Do you know that there's so much opportunity in processing sweet potato into flakes and powders and other derivative products, and these are in demand right now. And so we would like our farmers here, especially our indigenous farmers in Mindanao, to be the first one to really grab these big opportunities. And hopefully this will transform their communities and this will empower them more. Next, next slide, please. Okay, so these are just some of the byproducts, no, of bamboo. So the plaque of appreciation that you are uh, seeing right now, we use this during the our Asia, Third Asia Organic Conference for Organic Agriculture in Kauswagan, Lanao del Norte. And you see a lot of derivative products from bamboo, which are actually good source of revenues for our communities, for our IP communities, and for our farmer groups as well. So can we go to the next slide? Okay, so this is all about the Steep Mindanao program now. So I'm biased to this because I'm the Mindanao program coordinator. So for the Steep Mindanao program, so this is the Strengthening the Indigenous Peoples in Mindanao program. And for this, we are actually targeting to assist 32 indigenous cultural communities across Mindanao. And we are doing this considering the fact that 63% no, of the 15 to 20 million population of IPs are in Mindanao. And also considering the report from LTF, NTF-LCAC that 80% of the rebel recruits are coming from the tribes. And so we are looking at this program as really very crucial in strengthening our IP communities, no, so that they won't become vulnerable to this uh, recruitments and others. So can we just go to the next slide? Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay, so uh, just for your quick appreciation, this is the STIP Mindanao program framework. So at the heart of all the things that we're doing under the STIP Mindanao program, at the heart of everything is really to empower our indigenous cultural communities just so they will achieve a quality of life, no, in from and in the end really enhance their well-being. And so these are the components that we are closely working at: CAP building, livelihood, health, environment, and governance. Very importantly for governance is our goal to strengthen their governance system or their IPS, what they call it, their IPS or Indigenous People Structure. And so that the IP leaders are really equipped to manage their domains, no, respectively, or their lands, because as you know, our IPs actually own vast tracts of lands, no, that are just, laying there idle. And so we are strengthening their capabilities and their skills, and so that they will really be able to manage their domains respectively. And for CapDev, of course, with knowledge, there's power. And so we are training and retaining them so that they will really have the needed skills with them to implement projects and programs that will benefit those that are in their communities, respectively. So next slide. Okay, so these are actually the milestones for the 5-year STIP Mindanao implementation. And as you can see, we have 32 for the rest of the year, but for the first year of implementation, we were able to assist 12 IP communities, no? So, and then provide them with livelihood assistance as well. And for this agenda on health, improving their health and welfare. So we are looking here at 2,000, a figure of 2,000, and this is for the medical kits actually. And for the first year, which started last year, we provided 500 medical kits to partner tribes. And for the ADS-DPP or the Ancestral Domain Sustainable Development Plan or the Ancestral Domain Annual Investment Plan preparation, we are expecting to assist them, assist 16 IP communities, no, to develop or enhance their ADS-DPP, which is the ADS-DPP is actually their main Bible of developing their roadmap for developing their ancestral domain. And so for the first year, we've we've endeavored to assist two communities for this under this component. And for the dialogues, 60 a target of 60 dialogues, and we were able to implement 18 during the first year uh, in 2024, because 2024 is our pilot year. And then this establishment of the Mindanao IP Fund, this is actually a big uh, dream for us under STIP, because we are really looking at this is as a critical step to be able to provide bigger assistance to our partner communities, no? And this is still in the works. We are talking with potential partners to set this up, to establish this fund, and to manage the same, no? So that once it's being established, so it will be able to extend the needed assistance also to the IP communities in need. Then you have education and the Husay proceedings. The Husay proceedings, it is our goal that we will be able to strengthen this, because if there would be unresolved issues or concerns in the tribes, and if this will not be uh, settled immediately, then it can escalate. It can escalate. So we hope to professionalize, to assist the tribes to professionalize their Husay proceedings and to fast track, no, the resolution of all concerns in the IP communities. So can we go to the next slide? Okay. So for 2024, now during our pilot year of implementation, so we've assisted this. Actually, the target is just 12, but we were able to adapt additional ones, so making the number of IP partners from 12 to 13. No? So these are our initial partner tribes, the Atamanobo, the Blan, in Sarangani, the Bukidnon Tagulwanan tribe in Mindanao, Higaonon, Bukidnon, Higaonon in Dalwangan, the Higaonon in Rugungon, the Manobo, the Mandaya, Mansakakagan in Davao del Norte, the Matigsalog in Lorega Bukidnon, the Sobanin in Gudod, Zamboanga del Norte, and the Talaandig tribe in Talakag Bukidnon. So I'm looking at the chats here, and they're saying that it's almost 9 o'clock, and so I will have to fast track this presentation. So can we go to the next slide, please? Because the next slide, I think, will just show you some action photos. So these are our consultations, and then we move to the next slides for some quick appreciation of the things that we're doing under the STIP Mindanao program. So these are some of the trainings we're doing. So for the Bukidnon Tabalwanan tribe, we are teaching them how to grow high-value vegetables. And so part of the uh, package of assistance is really enhancing their capabilities and skills, no, to be able to grow and profit from their high value vegetables grown. So project development, which is really very essential, because our IP partners do not actually have this capability. And you see with government, there are actually a lot of grants, no, funding grants. And all we need to do is really to capacitate our partner tribes to be able to prepare project proposals that can be considered by these funding agencies like DA, DAR, so on and so forth. Next. Next slide. So this is the Mindanao Development Corridors now, which I also made mention earlier. So this is the geospatial plan for Mindanao. And what you can see here is the fact that we've already uh, there are already crucial corridors that can be developed into, like for the Northern Mindanao Development Corridor, which is actually uh, geared to serve as the industry and trade cluster of Mindanao. And then we have the South Central Mindanao for logistics and food cluster, the Western Mindanao Development Corridor for basically for mariculture and agribusiness and aquaculture development, and including trade and the Bangsamoro Development Corridor. So with this spatial plan, there's a need to really enhance the interconnectivity, you know, and the interregional connectivity. And so there's seamless trading that will happen and seamless transport of goods from all over Mindanao to the markets, intended uh, destined markets. So can we move to the next slide? So just a quick share. These are ongoing infra projects now across Mindanao. So as you can see, last September, we just opened the Pangal Bay Bridge, which is a very critical infrastructure that's connecting two major economies, no, that of Tubulan del Norte and Tangub, Misamis Oriental. And not only that, this bridge will already allow a faster traveling from these areas to the rest of Mindanao, no? Really saving more than 8 hours of travel time going to all the other areas in Mindanao. Siargao Airport is on is ongoing. The Central Mindanao Airport in Mlang, the Bukidnon Airport in Don Carlos. Hopefully, this will already be operationalized in 2027. Last March, the passenger terminal has already been launched. So we just hope that with all the support and the lobbying, so these big ticket projects will really be operated on time, as scheduled. So next. So I think we're nearing the end. Can we go to the enabling conditions? So for everything, for all the programs, as highlighted earlier, so these are the things that there are enabling conditions that we really need to lobby for, no, and to promote. Of course, we have to promote more farm to market roads just so our products from the mountains and from far flung areas will really be able to reach the market on time and still in good condition. So we need to improve transport connectivity in our logistics system. So again, we really have to uh, work more for an enhanced policy support. No? And we're doing this with our Mindanao Affairs Committee, with our Mindanao congressmen and women. And also, we are promoting digitalization, and we're starting with the provincial local government units, especially in the provincial agricultural offices, so that we can have an inventory of all the goods produced across Mindanao, and even the land use, no, so that we can effectively guide our potential investors where to go with respect to the ready raw materials in the region or areas where they would want to be at. And lastly, funding mechanisms. So as you know, there are a lot of grants now, in government, like DE for one. DE has the highest uh, funding grant, no, available. So they have World Bank, they have EU already under the PRDP, and so on and so forth. And even the LG has and the SWD. So it's really just a matter of capacitating our farmer groups, our women-led associations, our IP organizations and communities to really uh, verbalize no, and actualize their requirements, their funding requirements into a project proposal because these are government entities and they would need this documentary support to be able to process assistance, any assistance to the communities. So uh, next slide. Is this the last slide? So, okay, so we in Minda, we are here and we will continue to ensure that Mindanao will have a, a sustainable socioeconomic development even amidst the uh, conflicted global landscape, the challenging global landscape we have. And of course, with everyone's support and now with ABCD Foundation support, then we are positive and we are hopeful that we will really be able to really meet our aspirations. Kul hasalamat. Thank you. Terima kasih. Shukran. Thank you so much for your attention, everyone.
Right. Thank you very much po, Miss Lourdes, for really showcasing. Actually, it's really great that what you've showcased is, apart from the programs, is already what steps you've been taking to in progress for these programs. And I already see that we have questions in the chat box.
Oh,
So
can I call a friend?
you're welcome. You're welcome to invite any experts or any people who are working on the ground with you to help you. For example, with all the numbers, we especially for the informal session, and we can already speak in Filipino in the informal session, so that's fine. All right. So thank you very much again, Miss Lourdes, for your very exhaustive presentation. Mindanao truly is one of the important pillars for agricultural food security, sustainability. Here in the Philippines, and it's really important for us to understand the programs that are being done to achieve this, especially considering that the Philippines is still generally a very young country, a very hungry country, and we need to feed our people, and Mindanao is definitely one of the important partners for that. So in any case, if you are here with us, please do stay on for our informal session. But if you are joining us through our social media uploads, I'm afraid this is the extent of what you can get for free. Before we continue, I'd like to first give our certificate of appreciation to Miss Lurdelie and Hambre. Can you just flash that on screen? So the Agribusiness and Countryside Development Foundation, in partnership with the Management Association of the Philippines, together with all of our members, individual members, corporate members, special partner institutions, senior special partner institutions, all present this certificate of appreciation to Lurdelie and Hambre for her invaluable support in the advocacy and promotion of agribusiness and countryside development, and for her commendable and unselfish services rendered to this foundation as our resource speaker, given on our sixth online meeting of 2025, this 8th day of April, in Pasig City, Philippines, signed Ernie Ordonez as our chairman and myself as our president. But if you are joining us online through our social media uploads, again, very unfortunately, this is the extent of what you can get for free. The Agribusiness and Countryside Development Foundation, in partnership with the Management Association of the Philippines, is a non-profit member-supported organization, and it's only through your generosity and support that we are able to bring you these sessions every 2 weeks and to do what we do. If you have experience working in Mindanao, if you're an organization interested in the development of Mindanao here in the Philippines, if you're interested in such civil society developments, public sector developments, you're a private sector organization, that is interested in the development in Mindanao, especially for indigenous peoples and agricultural production, leave us a comment. You can share your story, ask your questions. Let us know how our session today might have helped you or how we might be able to connect you with other members or to our speaker today. If our session today has brought you enough value that you're interested in supporting the foundation, our links are in the description. Please do send us an email, introduce yourself. We'd be very happy to get to know you and bring. But that's it for today. We'll see you in our next session. Well, okay, the session after the next session, because unfortunately the next session is an in-person event. But we do highly encourage you to follow our social media and register for that event. Unfortunately, if you're not a member of the foundation, you do have to pay the Israel Chamber to join. But if you're a member of the foundation, again, I highly recommend you to join because only exclusively for the foundation is it free. So with that, thank you for your time. We'll see you in the next session in our next upload and have a great day. Bye-bye.